Recently, Magic the Gathering released their newest set, Phyrexia All Will Be One, and because of that, I decided to make a new deck based around 2 of the newest Planeswalkers released and 2 Lovers both completed. So here we have Vraska and Jace in my deck completed couple, centered around a few poison counters to proliferate and a bit of mill to help Jace, with some control and card draw to keep our life total high and our Planeswalkers safe. But what do you do when you run into a stronger version of your deck? Well, let's find out. Oh, and I'll put a deck list in this description. We start with an interesting hand, but with a turn 1 and 2 play with some mill on turn 3, I decide to keep it. And for turn 1, play an island and Font of Progress, an artifact that enters the battlefield with 2 oil counters on it, and for 3 mana and tapping it, it can mill a player for the amount of oil counters on it. The opponent simply plays a tap land and passes. On turn 2, we play a swamp and pass, waiting for either Fairy Vandal or Fading Hope, depending on our opponent's moves. Our opponent simply plays a swamp and passes again. Suspicious of a counterspell, I still attempt to play Fairy Vandal, a 1/2 flyer with flash, and whenever we draw our second card in a turn, it gets a +1/+1 counter. And in response, my opponent plays Prologue to Phoresis, a new card from the set that gives each opponent a poison counter, and you draw a card. On turn 3, we draw an actual play. We don't have to wait for our opponent to do first, so we play it anyways. Well, that's a bit rude, isn't it? We don't even get the token because he exiled it. At least now he's tapped out, and we can get some card draw for the next turn, and even hold mana up for Fading Hope. So no matter what creatures they play, we just send it back. Oh, well, that's not exactly a creature, is it? Well, luckily his -3/-0 won't stop our Fairy Vandal for long, as we're now guaranteed to draw 2 cards in a turn. So turn 5, we play our tap land and make our opponent mill 2 cards. Okay, so pausing here, we definitely should have done this at our opponent's end step, so we can at least make it look like we have something to play on their turn. Or even have just drawn 2 to have something to play next turn. But I mean, what happens happens and we're moving on. Our opponent really looking like they're missing some lands here as they play Experimental Augury, another new card that lets you look at the top 3 cards of your deck and put 1 into your hand, the rest to the bottom of the library, and you can proliferate. That proliferation triggers our opponent's Voidwing Hybrid in their graveyard, and wait a minute, they proliferated our Fairy Vandal to be stronger. Alright, sure, whatever. They put that Voidwing back in their hand, and there's the land they needed to cast it, but that's not happening yet. Put it back into their hand and scry. Ah, hey, would you look at that? Well, I think we keep that on top and go to my turn. Draw and another Phyrexian Espionage, and because without creatures on the board, I don't find Jace to be too useful right now. So I use it to draw 2 and make them discard that Voidwing. 2 lands aren't the best, but now they're out of the way, so play the tap land, and now we're finally strong enough to overpower the -3/-0, and we hit their Jace for 1. Opponent plays a land and another Prologue to Phoresis, and Experimental Augury, which gets their Voidwing back into their hand. Not buffing my creature this time. But a lot of repeats here, even weakening our Vandal again. I draw another Vandal and Swamp. And play them both. Okay, pausing again here, I definitely should have played this on our opponent's end step. I played Phyrexian Espionage right after to draw 2 and try to put a +1/+1 counter on our new Vandal, but I realized right after that that's not gonna work. We already drew our second card for the turn. But what's done is done and I can't take it back. So continuing on, we draw 2 islands. I mean, come on, really? Alright, fine, they're out of the way. And now our opponent discarded the Voidwing again and we attack Jace for 2. Our opponent's taking a long time to decide here. Well, they finally did it, and they play the new Vraska and turn our strongest Vandal into our treasure and weaken the other one with Jace and pass. We start off turn 8, drawing 2 Shieldreds, and play one honestly just to bait out any removal they might have. Also play our Jace just because we have the mana, and we mill them for 3 and just give ourselves 2 life by drawing a card. Our opponent plays Gix's command to return Voidwing to their hand, but more importantly force us to sacrifice our Shieldred. But luckily we have a spare. They draw a card and proliferate with Vraska. Sitting at 5 poison counters now, that's starting to become a bit of a problem. Mila's for 18 with Jace, now sitting at 1 loyalty. We have 19 cards left in our library, but with Phyrexian Arena that's only 10 turns. And with Jace and Vraska on the board still, they can easily mill us out. But luckily, we can take care of one of those problems with this Hero's Downfall, and Voidwing finally comes out again, preventing us from taking out their Jace. Or we can just take them both out. Play Shieldred for value. Play Liliana to make them sacrifice their only creature. Because of this treasure they gave us, we have enough mana to still cast Hero's Downfall to take out their Vraska. Mill them for 3, draw 2, find our own Vraska, and attack down Jace. We have now completely wiped their board, and I still have my entire board intact. This game is now flipped on its head. Opponent's last hope here. They play Venser, Quartz Puppet, a new card with 1 power, 3 toughness, lifelink, and toxic 1. And a proliferate trigger, but that really doesn't matter anymore now that we've taken out their Vraska. They play another Gix's command to take out our second Shieldred and put 2 +1/+1 counters on Venser. And finally, on turn 10, we play a land, play our own Vraska, attempt to turn Venser into a treasure, and they scoop it up. So there we have it. While the opponent may have had the better mill and poison strategy, considering we had 5 poison counters and only like 13 cards left in our deck, we had enough control that even with their Jace on the board for so long, they couldn't do enough to actually finish us off, and we lasted long enough to get our game plan going, and we won the game. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more like it, make sure to subscribe, as I would really appreciate it, and I'll be sure to put out more videos like this. If you want to see these be recorded live, I also have a Twitch channel, I'll link in the description. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But like I said, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Citrix out.